Good afternoon. So today we're going to finish the assignment for this week called Wipeout. And you can see that I've gone ahead and picked some of my colors. Been very careful to pick them as complementary pairs. We'll talk about that in a moment. And also I've pulled up a reference here, a color wheel. And when I look at the color wheel, I see yellow, which oftentimes is at the very tip top. Purple's down below it. I see red. Here's a red pencil right there. It pairs up nicely with green. I see orange. Oops, I should sharpen that one. It pairs up nicely with turquoise. See, there's turquoise opposite it. Here is a bright yellow-green. It pairs up nicely with this red-violet, which I kind of have there. All these pairs of colors are called complementary pairs. There's kind of a yellow-orange, and it pairs up nicely with this blue. So if you think about colors in terms of their opposites, it becomes very useful, especially when shading. Notice there's no black on the wheel, okay? I love black, and I often use it, especially when I outline in black. But black is an especially potent color, not on the wheel because it's considered a pure value, not really considered part of the rainbow. I love using it, but like salt on my food, I don't like to use a lot of it. It can overpower if you're not careful. So let's get started doing some shading on our wipeout, shading and coloring, using our complementary pairs. We're going to be looking for curves on things. And when we add color, we follow the curve. Here is a sketch piece. You can see my final piece already started right there, where I've used color in complementary pairs for shading. You can see some areas where there's some shadow or shade falling. I'm not quite done yet. You see I've experimented with surfboards on this page, and you notice how this surfboard has straight lines to define its edges. This is seen purely from the front at no particular angle. This surfboard, notice the lines angling back and converging in the distance. This surfboard looks like it's coming straight at you, maybe from overhead. You're down below, you're looking up. You can see the fin as this comes flying out of a wave. Here's another one angling down. You see the lines converging. This is closer, this is farther away, this is flying towards you. This one is flying towards you. Look how dramatic these angling lines here are that define its edges. It's coming almost straight at you. Look how severely foreshortened. Even the surfer here flipping in the air, look how dramatically foreshortened his legs are there. Because we don't see much of them, it indicates that their angle is away from our eye in the distance, okay? Now, if I continue to shading here, it might be that in shading this surfer, I might start with a yellow. Now, I'm going to use the complement of this yellow, which is something of a violet. Notice that when I put down the color, I go very lightly. And I'm not necessarily always careful because mistakes like this are easily disguised later on. I'll need a little color in his hand, in his arm, and a little color in his face. Now remember I said I was going for a purple, in this case something of a red-violet. Violet and purple are the same thing. When I mix violet and I mix yellow together, they'll give me a brown. And a brown is more normal for a surfer who's out in the sun all the time. If I build those surfaces little bit by little bit, you'll see not a purple, not a yellow, but a brown starting to show. And that's especially true in areas that are receiving less light, more shade, okay? Let's try it over here. Notice how I only tend to put a darker shadow on one side and then lighter to the other, okay? Darker on one side, lighter to the other. Darker, Now I'm darkening, I'm blending to one side. You see how the shadows begin to form there. Remembering that I am not using any black or any brown at all. I'm making brown. I'm making the shadows by blending the colors, okay? Let's go into the bottom of the hand here where there may be some shadow falling, darker to lighter. It's a little bit here on the face, darker to lighter. Go back, darker to lighter. You can build your colors little by little, knowing that if you do it too much all at once, you may overshoot your goal, and that would not be good. Now, it could be that I'll use black line work here in the hair because he may have black or dark hair, but notice that I do leave white showing because even dark black hair, when it's wet, will be reflective and somewhat shiny. I think I'm going to use a red for his swim trunks, knowing that I used a different color down here, so let's give him some variety. Let's go ahead and add a different color. Again, a lighter color, lighter pressure that is. Don't worry about going too fast lightly because there's a good chance you won't make a mistake that way if you're going lightly. Notice how I'm slowing down, going a little darker, lighter, darker, lighter. This is one leg of his swim trunks there, darker, lighter. Another leg of his swim trunks, darker, lighter. Okay, let's see how this looks. Not bad. You see his swim trunks looking kind of rounded like you'd expect, darker towards the back, underneath, lighter towards the front. Now red, its complement is green. So if I were to add green here, that will neutralize and darken the red, give me more of a shadowed effect. It doesn't give you that bright red you had. You're going to lose some of that, but shadows definitely are not that bright anyhow, so that's okay. So believe it or not, that surfer is done. You don't always have to add color everywhere. You can always go back if you feel an area needs it and add some more. What I'm going to do now is finish this up, and I will speed through the process to the end here in the video so you can see it coming together quickly. Okay, I'm finished. That's it. Remembering that whenever you apply color, you always do it lightly at first. Pick the color, decide where you want to put it, and lay it down lightly. You can always blend other colors with your first lighter color. It's easy to do. And later, when you decide you need a darker value or a different color, you simply either add the different color for a new blend, or you press a little harder for something slightly darker. You're adjusting the lightness and the darkness of the color to give a sense of form, of three-dimensional form on a flat, two-dimensional sheet of paper. Here I have 3 surfers, 3 surfboards, and a very big wave. Now, you try.